Hello everyone, welcome to TalentSprint. So now we shall discuss the part 3 of struggle for Indian independence. So in part 2 we have concluded with the Gandhi's entry into freedom movement. The last one was the Kheda Satyagraha in 1918. So now we shall see the chronology of events in this part 3. So first is Government of India Act 1919. Next is Khilafat Movement 1919 to 1920. Next is Rowlatt Act 1919, Jallianwala Bagh massacre or incident in 1919. Next, non-cooperation movement 1920, Swaraj Party 1923, and HRA, that is Hindustan Republic Association in 1924. So now first we shall see the Government of India Act 1919. So after the Kheda Satyagraha, the government comes up with some more reforms in India. Okay, so this is Government of India Act 1919. It is also called as Chelmsford-Montagu reforms. Chelmsford was the Viceroy of India and Montagu was the Secretary of State. So they wanted to reform some more changes in the administration of the British India. Okay, so first one was diarchy. Diarchy was introduced in the provinces. Okay, what do you mean by province? Province means these are the areas which were ruled directly by the British. Next one was princely states. Princely states means these are ruled by the Indian kings like Nizam of Hyderabad, Raja of Kashmir, like that. Okay, so diarchy was introduced in the princes. What do you mean by diarchy? Diarchy means there was a separation in some lists like reserved subjects and transferred subjects. So reserved subjects was in charge was the governor along with his councillors, and transfer subjects were responsible by the ministers who were responsible for the actual subjects. Okay, clear with this? The next, some more reforms were bicameral legislature like upper house, lower house was introduced. Okay, and the next, legislatures could ask questions, and some more Indians were introduced or added to the legislative council, central legislative council. So Indianization was coming up slowly with the movements in India against the protest, who were conducting protest against the British. So this was some of the reforms under Government of India Act 1919. It is also called as Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Next is Khilafat Movement 1919 to 1920. So what happens is during the First World War, that is 1914 to 1919, okay, what happens was the Turkey, which was a German ally, was defeated by the British. So after the defeat under the British, the Turkey was ruled by a caliphate. The ruler of Turkey was the caliphate of all the Muslims in the world. After the death of Prophet Muhammad, there were caliphs. Okay, different people used to claim them as caliph. Caliph means he is the head of all the Muslims over the world. Why Turkey was the caliphate? Because most of the Muslim monuments like Makkah Masjid, the famous Mecca Masjid, was under the control of the Turkey ruler. So he himself claimed him as the caliphate of the world, head of all the Muslims in the world. So British wanted to remove this caliphate as it has defeated the Turkey. So this has raised the anger in the Muslims all over the world. So they will start a Khilafat movement. Particularly Indian Muslims will start Khilafat movement, particularly Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali brothers, Okay, so later they were, though they were conducting a protest against the British, they wanted the help of INC leaders. But INC leaders wanted the help of Muslims also. Okay, so they will take, both of them will, instead of taking up individual events, they will take up a mutual event. What is that? We will see in the coming slides. That is called non-cooperation movement. So next act was against the Indians was Rowlatt Act in the year 1919. So what is this Rowlatt Act? It was passed by the British Parliament under the leadership of Sir Sidney Rowlatt. So what is this act? So simply said, this act has given the powers to the Britishers or Europeans courts to try and imprison any person without any charge sheet or without any memo. Without showing any proof, they can be get arrested without any trial. So this has raised anger in the Indians. How can Britishers can try us without any proof, without any memo? Okay, so Gandhiji will take up satyagraha against this Rowlatt Act. Okay, and when Rowlatt Act was going, this Jallianwala Bagh massacre will also happen. So Rowlatt Act protests were happening in March 1919. In April 1919, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre will happen. On 13th April 1919, so Sikh friends, that is Punjabi friends, they gather at a place called Jallianwala Bagh Park to celebrate Baisakhi. Baisakhi is a harvest festival of particularly Sikh people, Sikh community religion. Okay, so to celebrate this Baisakhi, they will gather at Jallianwala Bagh. So a person called Michael O'Dwyer, on behalf of the British government, he will issue orders saying there should be no public meetings after Rowlatt Act. So when they gather, he thinks that his orders are neglected, so he will order fire onto the innocent people. There was a small opening to this Jallianwala Bagh. So when the fire opens, people were unable to run away. There was a huge riots. People were stamped one over each other, and lakhs of peoples have lost their life when Michael O'Dwyer orders fire onto the innocent people. Okay, clear with this? So Jallianwala Bagh, after the painful Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Rabindranath Tagore will give up his knighthood which was given by the British, and Gandhiji will give up his title Kaisar-e-Hind which was also given by the British. And there were a lot of protests against the British, and it will constitute a Hunter Commission to investigate into this Jallianwala Bagh incident. So Hunter Commission was constituted by the British to investigate into the Jallianwala Bagh incident. So this is about Jallianwala Bagh. So now Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh, Khilafat Movement. Instead of having three different separate protests, so Gandhiji wanted to have a single protest. So he will come up with non-cooperation movement. In the 1920 Nagpur session of Indian National Congress, they will decide for non-cooperation movement, taking up the individual Khilafat movement, Rowlatt Act protests and Jallianwala Bagh protests. So three movements were combined and taken up as non-cooperation movement. So this was the first all India wide movement, and it has involved a lot of people in it. Okay, so what is this non-cooperation? Non-cooperation means not cooperating with the British, right? So people were asked to boycott colleges, schools, okay, legislatures, and prohibit foreign made goods and encourage only Swadeshi goods, okay, and boycott the elections and not to serve in the British army. These were the non-cooperation ideologies which were proposed by the INC. So both Hindus and Muslims were cooperating to protest against the Khilafat movement, the Rowlatt Act and the Jallianwala Bagh. So this was a huge success, the non-cooperation movement. But what happens is, in February 1922, at a place called Chowri Chowra, when people were protesting against the British in non-cooperation, during non-cooperation movement, some British police will order fire onto the innocent people at Chowri Chowra in present Uttar Pradesh. So the angered mob will set fire to the nearby police station. So now the non-cooperation movement takes non-violent tinge. So this will not be accepted by Gandhiji or not. So Gandhiji will not accept this non-violent tinge. So then and there he will cancel the non-cooperation movement in 1922. So in this way the non-cooperation movement will end up with the violent tinge taken up during the Chowri Chowra incident. So non-cooperation movement ends with Chowri Chowra incident in Uttar Pradesh in 1922. So moving on to the next event, that is Swaraj Party establishment in 1923. So some INC leaders, some Indian National Congress leaders were unhappy with the non-cooperation movement ideology. What was that? So one ideology was that to boycott legislatures. But Swaraj Party people wanted to be in the legislature and give their voice against the British. So what they wanted was, don't come out of the legislature. If you be in the legislature and give your voice against the British. So they will come out of INC and form a Swaraj Party. It is also called as Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party, and it was established by C.R. Das, the president, and the secretary was Motilal Nehru, the father of Jawaharlal Nehru. So they will contest in elections in 1923 and they will go to the legislature, they will give their voice, but British as usual, they will not listen these people's voice. So they will come back to the Congress again. So this will happen with Swaraj Party in 1923. The next event was a formation of Hindustan Republic Association in 1924. So what happens during this? So to conduct a revolutionary event, that means violent event, the HRA will be formed under the leadership of Sachindranath Sanyal and Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee and some more people like Ram Prasad Bismil, all those. Chandrasekhar Azad will also join later in 1924. And their first action was a Kakori conspiracy case in the year 1925. Oh, what is this Kakori? So a train called 8 downtown train was traveling from a place called Kakori to Alamnagar in Uttar Pradesh. So this train was carrying the British finances. So first the HRA wanted to loot this train. So they will conduct a looting procedure on this train. So they will get caught by the British and they will be given different punishments. Some people will be hanged, some people will be given lifetime imprisonment. Okay, so this was their first action of Hindustan Republic Association to conduct a revolutionary event against the British so that they will give independence to India. Okay, so this is all for this session. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.